Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Artsphere. Today we are going to do a cast study, a cast drawing. So let me tell you about the basics of cast drawing, what cast drawing is. So cast drawing is basically studying the values, the tones, and it is generally done with statues. And here I do not have statues for obvious reasons. So I have used a image. You can also use an image, not a big deal because we have just started the study, and in later stages you can visit museums when the situation is better, and also you can visit parks as well because they as well have some statues and sculptures to study how light behaves. So there are various benefits of cast study as well. It is not a very new subject. It has been practiced since the Renaissance period, and the masters have also done cast studies to improve and to study how the light behaves on various objects. And studying light is very essential to create paintings. The picture that I have chosen is of a marble statue of a lady. It is a very delicate subject, and really need to be very soft about the whole subject, and the main emphasis is on the subject. Please do not worry about the background and other things. The background was just to add the darkness that was required to the whole subject, because the light was very sharp on the face, and hence we needed a background to kind of balance the light and the dark, because my main focus was to study the sculpture and not the background. So just keep that thing in mind when you study sculptures. What your main focus is, you should be well aware before starting. Okay, now let's start about talking about the importance of studying casts. Cast study is a very powerful method. It is going to improve your figure drawings, because the sculptures and the statues, in layman language I'll tell, the statues are made by very skilled and experienced people, which are present in the museum and the parks as well, or even in the city somewhere. We get to see statues everywhere. So it is made by a skilled person. The proportions are absolutely perfect. Each and everything has been taken care of. The details and everything has been. So the statue or the cast study is better for a beginner. I'll tell you the reason why. Because when we study from models, which is also very essential, if you want to have a successful art career, to study the anatomy you need to study models. Whereas the drawback with models is that they are not going to stay at a particular position for a longer period of time for you to finish your whole study, whereas the statues are stiff and are at one place and do not move for obvious reasons, and hence it is very easy to study them without making any changes. Whereas if you study from a model, there are going to be certain changes. For example, maybe I'm studying my own hand. It is here, I cannot keep this hand like this for an hour to make a very realistic drawing of it. It is going to move a bit. Maybe I'll not be able to get to know, but while drawing I will be able to see that the fingers were here, why are they like this now? So that's why studying from cast is very essential. Also, statues, some of them have very complex compositions, and which is not possible in real life by model. And for a very longer period of time, maybe you can click a picture of a model, but it is not going to work in the same manner. The movement in the sculptures that are shown by various masters. So that is an essential reason why you should study from statues or from sculptures. Also, when you have your own personal statue, like here I didn't have any object, any statue, any sculpture to study from, but when you have it, like the small sculptures are available, like you have sculpture of ear, of nose, of lips, of eyes, small blocks you get on Amazon. You can order that, and then you can experiment with the light. Each and every result is going to be very different because how the light behaves, and hence you are going to be able to study how light behaves with various surfaces and textures. Okay, now let's begin with the main video. Okay, so stage one is drawing. We are going to simplify the whole subject, the sculpture of that woman, into simple lines. And we really need to be very careful about the proportions at this stage, because this is going to be the basic structure for the whole drawing, for the details, for the later curves that we are going to add in this whole study. So be very careful at this stage. Most of the people make mistake at this stage. They feel that this is not important and they start shading at a very early stage, but be sure that the proportions are correct. I spent around an hour just to make these straight lines and just make them in an accurate manner. And later we are going to make details like eyes, nose, and we're going to add the curves in the hair as well, and other details. Okay, now our drawing is complete and we are going to start the shading. We are going to shade the light parts first. We generally, while shading, we go from top to bottom, because if we start from bottom to top, then our hands are going to smudge the whole graphite on the page. So we really need to be careful about the smudging. And also in later stages, keep a paper under your hand, because it is going to make a barrier between the graphite and your hand, and hence it is going to keep the paper safe. And moreover, our hands also have oil, even though maybe we do not feel it, but it has some oil in it. That oil can be absorbed by the paper, and it is going to be very create a very different effect with the graphite pencil. So be very careful about that, and be like very slow and precise at the stage. Do not rush and go slow. You do not complete this in one day. Take some breaks, get a fresh eye. And this is a very important tip when you are working on projects, or even you are doing value studies. Our eyes also need rest. So do not continue working on one project for a very longer period of time. Maximum 5 to 6 hours, not more than that. This is a time limit that I keep for per project. Then you can shift to another project if you want to do something. But get a fresh eye and come to the piece very next day. Okay, now I have added a paper because I'm going to add some dark tones in this part, as the light is very sharp. Hence the highlights and the light areas and even the dark areas are very sharp. So here the paper was not very much required because the graphite was not used that much. But now I'm going to add some more dark tones, and hence I'll be needing a paper so that I do not spoil my paper. And we really need to be careful about our paper while working with graphite. Be very slow, do not rush things. Even when you are doing dark tones, do them in layer. Do not press your pencil too hard on the paper. It can again spoil the paper, the tooth of the paper that holds the graphite. Hence, do not press your pencil very hard. Be very firm on the paper and go slow. The results are, the more time you give to a project, the better results are going to be there. If you're going to rush on any project, then it will be visible on the lines, in the shading. So be very careful about that. Also, I'm going to add some details over here, and you can see I'm shading in layers. Even the dark tones, I'm not doing the darkest very first. I'm going slow with the process. I'm doing the light shading first and then adding the dark tones. Here I have used 6B as well, because the dark tones are extremely dark. Otherwise in the other areas I was using 4B and even HB pencils sometimes when the shade was very light. So be careful about the pencils that are using. Also, I'll not be using any kind of blending tool in this whole process. I'm just going to be using a kneaded eraser and pencils that I've used out of 4B, 6B, and in some areas I have used 12B as well. But again, I am not, just like stuffing the whole paper with graphite. I am taking the whole process very slow. It is not visible here because this is a time lapse, and the whole purpose of a time lapse is to increase the whole process and make the video time shorter for the viewer. So here it is not visible, but I'm very slow during this whole process. I've done it in layers. Now again, I want you to notice how I am shading in layers and not doing the dark tones directly, and be very careful about that. Do not spoil your paper. And here I have not played much emphasis on the background. I have just added a dark tone to create a balance between the dark and the light. I hope you understood the whole process. If you liked the video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. And I'll meet you guys very soon with another video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.